Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I was on Facebook and I came across this Vanity Fair article, and it's a very important article. I will post a link to the article in the description to this video. And in that article, they talk about how under Trump, the FBI is going to focus its counterterrorism strategy on groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They are no longer focusing on domestic terrorists, such as, these white nationalist groups. They are no longer focusing on that. And this article points out how that will jeopardize years of progress that have been made in combating white terrorism in this country. We know that this country, unfortunately, was founded on white terrorism. We know that there have been terrorist attacks in the United States committed by white nationalists, white supremacists. We are all familiar with Dylan Roof going into that church and shooting and killing many people. And we know about shootings that have occurred, like there was a shooting that took place in the parking lot of a Kroger grocery store where Black people were targeted by white supremacists. And those are just a few examples of domestic terrorism that has taken place in this country. And now, instead of addressing actual terrorism, they want to target groups like Black Lives Matter. And all that amounts to is a modern day counterintelligence program. And while they label these activists as Black Lives Matter, it goes beyond just Black Lives Matter as an organization. That means any Black activist that is trying to make a difference, trying to do what they can to end police brutality, will be a target of the Trump administration's FBI. And we know the FBI has a long history of attacking Black people, of doing everything that they can to undermine the struggle of Black people. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, the counterintelligence program was a program designed to neutralize and destroy Black organizations and Black leaders. Black leaders were targeted, they were discredited, they were arrested on trumped-up charges, locked up on trumped-up charges. And there were some cases where Black leaders, such as Fred Hampton, the Black Panther leader in Chicago, were actually assassinated by the FBI. Black leaders such as Malcolm X, assassinated. Leaders such as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, assassinated. And the list goes on and on. That's what the counterintelligence program brought to the Black community: death and destruction, and the destruction of lives and organizations that were actually fighting to end the racism in this country, fighting for justice, fighting for freedom, fighting to end the racist oppression that our people face, fighting to end police brutality. So instead of actually dealing with police brutality, Donald Trump, under his FBI, they want to target those who speak out against police brutality. Instead of addressing police brutality, Donald Trump wants to give these police immunity to racially profile Black people, to target Black people, to harass Black people, to brutalize and kill Black people. That's what Donald Trump wants. But he wants to weaponize the FBI against Black organizations, Black activists. And that could even include personalities on social media, such as myself and others who use their voice to speak out against injustice. We could be the target of the FBI. And instead of addressing the problem of white supremacy, the problem of white supremacist terrorism, Donald Trump wants to target people that are victims of terrorism, Black people. And this is typical of Donald Trump. He has made the perpetrators into the victims. He has turned, the people that have historically oppressed and discriminated against people, he has turned them somehow into the victims. And so it is not a surprise that Donald Trump would turn the focus away from actual terrorists, white supremacist terrorists, and focus on black people. Because the truth of the matter is, those white supremacists that are committing the terrorism, they are Donald Trump's base. These white supremacists are his base. They are the ones that supported him. He was endorsed by the KKK, endorsed by the alt-right movement in this country. So it's no surprise that this man would turn a blind eye towards them and then focus on you and me, focus on black people trying to fight for freedom, justice, and equality in this country. That's what Donald Trump has done. He is again weaponizing the FBI, just like J. Edgar Hoover weaponized the FBI against the black community. While he's targeting us, he literally freed like 1,500 of those insurrectionists. You know, those people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th, many of whom were white supremacists. He freed them. He gave them a get out of jail free card. So that tells you his priorities. We're in some dark, frightening times right now, and we need to be prepared for what's coming next.